Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Skymetal Iron Gods. Chapter 2, Part 1, Lords of Rust. We finally made it to the next part. And in just a few moments, I'll turn it over to our Dungeon Master Vi, and we'll get started. But first, a couple of quick announcements. Hello and welcome everyone. If you are here, thank you. But we want you to know that this is just one of a couple of games that we stream here at MTD. You can of course catch us every other Tuesday here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. For Skymetal, on Thursday nights, you can catch us at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for Welcome to Paradise Academy, Season 2 of our Kids on Bikes campaign, set in a fictitious Michigan town in 1985 where all kinds of crazy shenanigans are going on. To put it into perspective, our Kids on Bikes have recently attended a party that is hosted by a werewolf family to welcome a vampire family into town, and there's a whole bunch of other monsters at the party as well. And one of the kids just decided it was a good idea to zap a vampire in front of everybody. So that will probably not have any consequences for Laz or Rosie, who got caught in that blast. But if you want to know what the heck we're talking about, you're going to have to tune in to our Kids on Bikes game. And we have on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, although we won't be back for 2 more weeks, so not next week, but the following week, Scribes and Scrolls. This is a campaign that's been running for just over 3 years. It started as a D&D campaign set in the Candlekeep setting. And about 1.5 years ago morphed into a Pathfinder 2E campaign set in Glorian. We just had our 102nd episode last night, and there's only like 2, maybe 3 episodes left, and that's it for that campaign. But don't worry, we're bringing another Pathfinder 2E game to that time slot after we take a rest to recover from the first campaign. But we will be running the 7 Dooms for Sandpoint campaign, which I'm excited because it's been quite a while. It's been a couple of years since I've run a game where Vi has been a player in that game. So Vi will be one of the players in that campaign, along with a couple familiar faces, and no stranger to MTD, but the first time I will be DMing our friend Neilfet, Jay, in a campaign. So stay tuned for that as well. And we might have a couple other things showing up as well. And I'm not, I actually have to double check, but I think the old guard on Nerdarchy will be happening this Friday, but I have to double check with Ted in our Thursday game because I don't remember. So we got a lot of different variety of games, and of course, if you want to catch up on our games or any of our other campaigns, you can head over to youtube.com/miniterraindomain to check those out. Now, if you look up above my head, you will see a +5 and 2 mysterious looking objects there. Those are our domain relics. Domain relics are, of course, the domain dice for this particular campaign. Domain dice is a way that you, the viewer, can have an impact on the game. For a $5 tip, subscription, gift subscription, Ko-fi support, 500 bits, you can purchase a domain die for us players. They have different uses in each game. In this game, our domain relics are 1, we can roll with advantage. 3, we can re-roll and take the new roll. Or for 5, we can make our Dungeon Master re-roll. We're pretty limited on what we can do right now. As you can see, we only have 7 of them. So if you're so inclined, you can do one of those things to earn us some more domain relics. A quick note on our games. We are adults portraying fictitious characters in a fantastic setting. You may hear graphic depictions of violence, intense dramatic role play. You might hear sensitive topics that can range all over the place. There might be um, substance, alcohol and substance use and abuse, any number of things. If any of these are things that are something that does not appeal to you, nobody will think any less of you if you decide not to watch. Maybe come back when you're in the right headspace, or if that's not your thing, no problem. It's not always for everything, not always for everybody, but we want you to know that we care about you, and that's why we tell you about these things. Thank you, Quarkling, for that subscription. That's going to earn us another domain relic there. Finally, well, actually, on the heels of the content warning, we want to make sure that you understand that all of the players have participated in a session 0, where we have discussed our specific lines and veils, and we have put safety tools in place to ensure that everybody is safe and has fun at the table. In our games, we use the traffic light system, but there are numerous other tools that are available. We encourage you to use safety tools, session 0s, and things like that at your own table. If you would like to check out the TTRPG Safety Toolkit, you can check out bit.ly/TTRPG Safety Toolkit, all one word. That is a Google Drive link that has the RPG consent checklist that we use in our games. It has the traffic light system, as well as a few other things like the X card and some other systems. We encourage you to check that out and employ those in your games, whether you're running them at home, privately, whether you're streaming a game, if it's a one-shot, if it's a campaign, whatever it is. Session 0s and safety tools are extremely important. Finally, before I turn it over to Vi, I want to make sure that we do a quick mental health check-in. Mental health is something that we are very, very serious about. We think is very important here at MTD, and we know that there are any number of reasons why somebody might be struggling or need somebody to talk to, and often one of the biggest hurdles is figuring out, how do I get started? How do I find the person I need to talk to? So I want to make that as easy as possible. All you have to do is come into the chat and type !help, as I'm doing right there. A couple of URLs will pop up. You can check out findahelpline.com, or you can check out the growing list of resources at takethis.org. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I'm going to turn things over to our Dungeon Master, Vi. Take it away.
Thanks, Jake. So we will begin our session tonight where we left off last session, in the basement underneath the Foundry Tavern, in a small little, almost like a burrow in the earth, this cellar, this bunker that has been built by the Bain family, by Conir Bain and his daughter. Here you've been talking with Council Member Conir Bain himself, having returned him to life, and cured his ailments, his sickness, with a strange technological device, this nanite medicine that Veris was able to retro-engineer, found off of the body, the unconscious body of Mayenda, who is still in your possession, unconscious, as a bit of a prisoner. The four of you have learned about a strange relationship between Conir Bain and Garmin Ulrith, the dogged man that seems to have been kind of pursuing you and causing you troubles through your adventures so far here in the town of Torch. One who had seemed to be aiding Mayenda down below in the complex below the town of Torch. Yet the council member Mr. Conir himself, seemed to view him as an ally and a friend. And they had a mutual pact of making sure that neither of them fall into the hands of the dangerous Technic League that operates out of the capital of Skyfall. Now, it is up to you what to do with this information. There's a few loose strings that you've left here in the town of Torch, but everything seems to be returning to normalcy now that the giant fire, the great bonfire of Torch, has been relit by you. We pass the spotlight to you, you three, as Daeralei volunteers to stay behind with Council Member Conir Bain while he recovers, as well as watching over the prisoner you have, Mayenda. So the three of you, what now do you do as your as the spotlight returns to the three of you?
Good question. I'm not usually the one to make plans.
Well, where do we go from here then? Are we just going to head to Scrapwall or?
First, do we need to take care of anything here in town? I should say, do you need to take care of anything here in town? Besides, wait. I know what you're talking about, but I also don't know what you're talking about.
There was a reward of 300 gold pieces by the council to relight Torch.
Oh, yes.
Another 300 gold pieces on the return of Council Member Conir Bain that neither of them have you gone to claim yet for doing such a thing.
Well, we need to talk to the council about getting paid for this job. For one. Do either of you need to see anyone else in town? I'm more concerned about you, Veris. I don't want you wandering around by yourself.
Oh, well, there is no need to worry about that. I feel quite confident in my ability, but I don't think that I have anything left here. I mean, my fascination does unfortunately lie with Scrapwall. But correct me, that was where the thing was pointing, right? That little device that Veris had was pointing at Scrapwall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, he's. My interest very much lies in where that thing was pointing. I do believe that that is where our next destination, our next adventure awaits. I suppose there is the whole thing about getting rewarded and money and all of that. I guess that can come too.
Just looking over the map to see if, I know there were some other names that were dropped, but Scrapwall seems to be the most pressing place we need to go. Vi, is there any reason, I wouldn't think so, but any reason I shouldn't share this map in the public Discord for Skyfall? Skymetal, this isn't a Bond movie.
Absolutely, you can share that map.
All right. That way people know what we're referencing when we talk about it.
Yeah, Conir Bain had listed a few places of where he theorized the rain of stars had affected the land of Numeria the most, and had recently torched this list as you described the complex below the earth underneath Torch. He listed a few: Silver Mount to the northwest, the Scar of the Spider directly west, and Scrapwall to the northeast, all belonging to some super mega structure that crumbled in the atmosphere above the world and was the Rain of Stars itself that crash landed, scattering its debris all over the land.
Well, for now, it seems we can take care of the matter of getting paid. And I guess we'll head to where the council is to see about getting our gold.
As the three of you emerge from the bunker beneath the Foundry Tavern, leaving the building and stepping out into the town of Torch, you see much more activity, first off, going through the streets. People celebrating and pointing at the great bonfire atop the Black Hill to the north of you. But dominantly, what you see as you step out of the Foundry Tavern itself is a figure that you've seen before. A ashen-skinned tiefling, tall, broad-shouldered. You saw her back when you had met with a Technic League agent by the name of Sanville Tret in that inn so many sessions ago. She stands there, a dominating presence, commanding the attention of the three of you. It seems she's been waiting. She looks to the three of you. She says, noticing that you've noticed her, "I have a message from Master Tret," she says. And she steps closer, almost intimidatingly. You've lost a valuable ally this day. You'd be wise to never dismiss our bargain ever again, if there even is another chance.
Was there more to that message, or were you waiting for a tip?
She scoffs at your rebuttal, your reply. "Next time we cross paths, we hope you have more sense." And she turns to leave, having given you a message on behalf of that man. Do you say or do anything as she turns to leave?
Veris doesn't know what she's talking about, right? He wasn't
I
there for
believe that.
this?
I think that it was you were in the body of Danik when this happened. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
think that Veris was around for this.
Yeah, Veris just kind of looks uncomfortably to Yrsimagor and just, well, she didn't seem very pleasant. A small deal that has gone awry, perhaps? Or, I'm sure there was a very good reason for why you did not follow through with whatever deal that you had agreed upon. Right, Yrsimagor? He, looks up at Yrsimagor.
It's not always in our best interest to make deals with everybody who offers them. This did not seem like a good idea. And I imagine she's just sour, because imagine having that much strength and power and being reduced to a messenger.
Ah, so you think that she is jealous. The jealous sort. I can see it. Yes, she did not like you or our group.
Well, that's no skin off my tusks. I make it a point not to have too many friends. I've got enough.
Well, you at least have one, he says. And another, and another. You have quite a few.
Like I said, I have enough. And just take a big meaty hand and sort of ruffle the top of your head.
You see immediately after you do that, he begins to like pet his like hair back, like kind of like, you know how cats do too, just like kind of like cleaning whatever grease you left. Just like
I was
slicking
gonna say,
back his ears.
are you implying that Yrsimagor doesn't bathe very often? But I think we've established that as canon.
I think that is
I was
canon.
about to say. We literally talked about him sitting in a warm spot. So.
Yeah, and that seemed to be quite a novel thing for him to be taking a bath.
Yes.
Look, I just took a bath last week. I'm good for at least a month. All right. Well, I think while continuing on our way, I will at least keep an eye on this tiefling just to make sure that she's actually leaving and not going somewhere to lie in wait or something.
I was going to say, I think Zaari is doing the same thing. She is very much keeping eyes on the tiefling.
Mm-hmm. Very quickly, you notice that she is going in the opposite direction that you are wanting to go. Seems she's going to the south of town, where you're wanting to go north. So very quickly, you part ways. You continue, then, on your way through the streets of Torch, making your way to the town hall up in the northeast section of Torch. And there you see the building that you came to oh so long ago, being hired as adventurers. But here you come with a different purpose, rather than seeking out a job. You've come here having fulfilled one. As you enter the building, you can see two figures, two of which you recognize. The stoutly built dwarf woman named Dolga, the one that you had met with, that gave you the contract, and another one who you saw during the fake funeral for Conir Bane. The merchant, I don't say merchant lord, but like the merchant overseer of the town of Torch, Baslundi Otterby, the one who had been afflicted with really nasty headaches. Though you see the two of them sitting at a table that normally would seat four. Both of their eyes snap up to the group of you as you enter. You'd notice that Baslundi himself would not be afflicted by a bad headache. The dwarf Dolga speaks up. It's you again. Any news? We see that you relit the torch, I assume. Well done. That was your doing, yes?
It was.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Baslundi seems a bit more suspicious that it was the three of you. How, pray tell, did you relight the torch? What was wrong with it? What did you do? What had been ailing the town of Torch then?
The torch was out, and we stopped what was preventing it from being lit.
Which was? Tell me this, just so we know that, so it did not happen again. Was it trivial?
At this point, I kind of look over. I look to Veris because I have no idea. Yrsimagor doesn't understand the technology or what happened. Just knows that Veris did something, and when we came back to the surface, the torch was relit.
So I think as like the opposite to Yrsimagor, Veris is going to go into like too much detail, and yeah, just way too much detail
Yeah.
about like the patterns, the different buttons and how they looked, and using the most technical language that he can, not to be rude or anything. He's just
Just a little excited.
just getting
But
excited.
Lily cuts you off. I've heard enough. Get this group their gold. And Dolga will nod. Thank you again, adventurers. As she slides to you a small little, like, I don't want to say treasure chest, but it's like a small little, like, box, a small little strong box. She slides it across the table for you to grab. Within the promised 300 gold pieces for the relit of torch. And, well, we heard about the fate of Councilman Conir Bane. We were there for his funeral. And she looks over. And this is your prize for finding what was left of him. And she slides over another strong box. May he rest in peace.
I think as she says that, I give an orcish acknowledgement of memory, which is probably something along the lines of bowing the head and touching the forehead. A small, simple gesture, but. And then I will take hold of both of those chests, and I'll take hold of both of those so the others don't have to carry them, and then we can sort out the coin later.
And so you have secured your bounty, leaving the true fate of Conir Bane a bit muddled in deception, you might even say. Do you leave this place, or do you continue to talk with them? They seem fine to have this be the end of the transaction.
I mean, yeah, once they paid us, I'm heading for the door. I have no reason to keep talking to them.
Okay. As you leave the town hall, you stride down a few streets just to get some distance. In the meantime, as you do this, you see a town person of Torch running, screaming, "Monsters! There's monsters in the cemetery!" Running past you, trying to get your attention because you're known as the heroes of Torch. The monsters! They're attacking the chapel!
Isn't the chapel where we left Daeralei and Conir Bane?
No, this would be the chapel where you buried Danik and a rope fist out in the back of.
Okay, different chapel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you left Daeralei and Conir Bane in the bunker below the Foundry Tavern, the household of Conir Bane himself.
I think at the sounding of the monster alarm, glancing at the other two, I'm going to sort of step behind you, Veris, and open up your wooden box on your back to find a place to stash these two strong boxes. I think these will be safer here. I need my hands free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you set them. I mean, you probably have to. I imagine you. It's quite messy in his little bookcase backpack that he has. So I imagine that you have to shuffle some things around and clink in these strong boxes.
I'm just picturing Veris from his point of view as you just see Veris kind of going, getting jerked around as I'm just manhandling your backpack, trying to shove these things in there.
And he's like, "Whatever you do, do not move the dark blue bottle. Under no circumstances are you to touch that one. Oh, and maybe not the red one either, the one with the red liquid in it, but with the one with the off pink liquid is fine. You can move that." As he's like trying to give you instructions, but afterwards, after you get that all settled, he's like, "All right, I guess it is time to be heroes once again."
I'm imagining that as you say that, I give one final shove, and there's just the sound of breaking glass.
Oh yeah,
yep. It's probably just an empty vial or something, but definitely like do that and just kind of look over at Zaari. Close your thing. Yeah, they fit.
Zari's eyes are just a little wide after watching that. Like,
I guess we'll head in the direction of the chapel and wherever these monsters are.
You make your way to the chapel, continuing down the road, and you see what the calamity was all about. As you hear the sound of breaking glass, you see shambling forms, the undergrowth around the cemetery, out back behind the chapel. These shambling forms you've seen before down below the earth in that complex. Those strange plant creatures. You see one poor victim of their attack, a corpse that a group of them is dragging to the forested area around the cemetery behind the chapel. You can see through the windows of the chapel itself these much larger, stranger, more mutated versions of these mold creatures inside the chapel itself, running amok, destroying things, and again feeding on the corpse of one of the acolytes that helped to run the chapel. So you're up here in the top right corner. You can organize yourselves as you wish coming down this road from the north. But with that being said, everyone please roll initiative.
I think that 13 might be the best initiative I've rolled in a while. I played bass and augmented moldy in college.
Okay. So we have Veris getting a 21. We have Zaari getting a 19. We have Yrsimagor getting a 13. It's 14. 7. Sweet. All right, Veris, you are the first to act here. As you see the site ahead of you, these windows here have been shattered. Probably, if you imagine, from the egress of these mold creatures. What do you want to do? as you see the sight of these creatures attacking the chapel. I don't think that Veris saw these creatures, except for the remains of them as you're heading through the complex below the earth.
So, but he has sight to like these guys, right?
Yes, yeah, you'd see these three of them, these
Yeah.
three moldies, dragging this corpse into the tree line.
Okay.
That is the cemetery behind the chapel.
Okay, so he's gonna go 30 feet here, and he is going to cast. Oh, what is he gonna cast? So that's 60 plus a 10-foot radius, 20-foot diameter. I'm just trying to see if he can get these back two guys. Which I think the answer is yes. He's going to position a shatter.
Ooh, okay.
Right here. Which
Mhm.
should get all three of the moldies.
It does get all three of the moldies. It'll make this is a con save, right?
Yeah, con save, yeah.
Okay. I got a 12, a 7, and a 19.
All of those are the 19 passes. So the ones who failed will take 16 points of thunder damage, and then 8 points.
What's it? Describe for me, please. What it's like for the two that were dragging the corpse into the tree line as they perish from this shatter spell. What does this look like?
I imagine that Veris reaches into his back and he immediately almost cuts his hand, or he does, like, just kind of nicks his hand on the broken glass that Yrsimagor had broken, that bottle, and he just Yrsimagor, and he like reaches back and kind of grabs the few pieces of glass that's been shattered, and he throws it away with like an arcane word, and immediately, as soon as that glass touches the ground, it just explodes out immediately, in this like eruption of arcane and glass as it just annihilates these two moldies.
Perfect. So you've moved, you've cast a spell. Anything else for your turn?
All right, Yrsimagor, you're up now. He's gonna give Yrsimagor Bardic Inspiration.
Is that D6, D8?
D8.
Sweet. Zaari, it is your turn.
Ooh, fantastic. My brain was going, do I want to go through a window or a door?
You're thinking the same way I am.
Yes. Great
Yeah, you'd
minds
see
think
the-
alike.
Door here, window here, window here.
Yep, I was just thinking, let me see. Oh, wonderful cat hair. I was thinking this window. Just like her coming up and shattering this window to get through it.
Is that what you're wanting to do? Or is it still
I
still
think
debating?
I think that's what she's gonna do. She
Cool,
is gonna
cool.
come up to this window and shatter this window.
I would like you to make an athletics roll, please, to try to like run up to the window, kind of like I imagine like jumping through it with your great form and mass.
And that'll be a 14.
That is enough to break the brittle glass windows as you're able to jump through the other side. You can take 1 point of slashing damage from doing so.
Worth it.
It's literally what I
used,
was going to do.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, so that you use up your movement for the turn, but you still have an action here.
Let me see.
Destroyed this window.
She is going to
Yeah, when you enter this this room, you see that this mold creature is doing something a bit different to this corpse than the other ones dragging it to the train line. It's this hulking or like this massive form is like hunched over it, and it's like spewing from its lack of face, like moldy tendrils that are almost like cocooning this corpse. Mm-hmm.
Oh, ew. Yeah, gross. She will cast hold person. I need a wisdom
Hold.
saving throw.
Hold person. I believe this will automatically fail because the creature is not a humanoid.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so this spell will not work. So you can do something else then. Because you would know that hold person requires it to be a person.
That's true. I have nothing else. I have nothing else. Yeah.
So are you standing there ready for
Yep,
them
I'm
to come
readying
at you?
myself.
Ready an attack action?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
is
Inside the chapel, you can hear the sounds of a Mr. Yoram Kite, the father of this chapel. Back, foul things! Muffled through the sound of this door, as he tries to ward them off. Yrsimagor, it is your turn. Emboldened by the mouse. What do you want to do?
I'm going to... I am going to run forward along the path I was just... My plan is to run forward and sort of dive through the window. Kind of like diving through the open window to hit the floor in kind of like a combat roll somersault thing. Pop up, and I'm using an ability that lets me, called Adrenaline Rush, that lets me dash as a bonus action, so that I can make it to this. Whoops. So I can make it to this first dude here. So jump through, and then run up to this guy to engage. I have a total of with dashing, I can move up to 80 feet. I think that's like 55 feet to right there. Do you need a check to jump through the open window?
No, Zaari already paved the way, you might say, for you. It's a pretty trivial, like, kind of hop the fence kind of move that I won't make you make a roll for.
All right. So that was my bonus action to do that. So as my action, I'm going to make 2 attacks with my Riker, Skymetal Longsword. First attack, I'm attacking Reckless, so that would be an 18 to hit.
18 hits, absolutely.
And then the second hit, also Reckless, is going to be a 22 to hit. Correct me if I'm wrong, I cannot add inspiration to damage. You're not that kind of bard.
No, sorry. Couldn't find my unmute.
Yeah.
Not that kind of bard.
Okie doke. So those are both hits. Those are going to be two-handed. That's 1d10 plus 5. So the first hit, 1. The first hit is a 6 slashing damage, magical slashing damage. The second...
That's including the bonus d4 for it being Skymetal, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I always forget that. The bonus d4 slashing. So that was 6 plus... Sorry. D4. So the first one is 9 slashing damage. The second one is 12 plus 1, so 13 slashing damage.
All right, this your two attacks heavily damage this more powerful moldy creature. Though it is like towering even in height compared to you, much bigger and more massive than you. Up close, you'd see that like as you're striking it, the bits of the plant and mold matter that you're striking away are like knitting themselves back together and reforming themselves into these like knotted tendrils of basically plant-based muscle that are ready to strike you back with very, very due ferocity. That was your move, your bonus, and your action, so you are done for the turn. Okay, it's now the little moldy's turns. These ones are going to continue to try to attack. Your kite, it's going to be a miss and a miss, thankfully. This moldy is going to away from you, Veris. Is going to move and dash up to you, and as it does so, you see that the glass shard wounds that you've caused it are already beginning to re-heal as it regenerates before your very eyes. Yrsimagor next to you, from the mold imbued corpse next to you, jumps out another one of these moldies, fully formed, and attacks you with its own like bare plant claws. And you recklessly attacked, right? So it has advantage against you. It's going to claw at you, getting a 18 to hit.
That's a hit.
And it's going to deal 4 points of slashing damage to you. Did I miss any? No, that's all their turns. And then this last one will move its move dash, jumping through the broken window. Let's see, that's a move, and it'll also dash up to you. As another one reveals itself from being hidden behind some stone and plants outdoors. It is now the augmented moldy's turns. So this one that's next to you, Yrsimagor, you see that its flesh, its plant flesh, like it knits itself together before your very eyes as it regenerates as well. And it looks up to you after you've kind of hacked at it, and its mouth parts, these viney tendrils, kind of make way for a larger, like, kind of like circular cavity. That from it, these mold spores and tendrils burst from it, infecting you. As I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please, as it infects you with toxic mold.
Let's see. Constitution saving throw will be. I'm going to use that inspiration die. I rolled a 10, and then I rolled a 7 on the inspiration die. So that's a 17 plus 7, 24 on my con.
24 in con means you pass, which means that you're able to kind of wipe it away, but you're still going to be taking 7 points of poison damage from it, but you are not going to suffer its adverse effects. Is able to wipe it away quickly in time and resist it. Likewise, the second one does the same thing, moving up to you and getting you again with its toxic mold spewing. Well, maybe another con save, please.
That's an 18 on the die for a 25 con.
Yeah, again, you'll pass and you'll take 7 poison damage and suffer no other adverse effects. As it moves to try and get in melee with you, but it is not going to be able to attack you on this turn. That brings us to the top of the order, Veris. You have one of these mold creatures, small and diminutive, just like yourself, that's charging at you with a kind of a broken branch from one of the trees behind the chapel, ready to smack you upside with it. What do you want to do?
Well, that is just inconvenient, he says in response to the thing healing itself. You should know that that is just all in vain, and that your time on here on this earth is unfortunately short. And he is using vicious mockery. Is his best way to tell someone that they're going to die?
Is the wisdom save, right?
Yeah.
And there's a 17 total on this mold creature. It seems that your harsh words don't really mean much to it because it's probably too young to understand the language that you're speaking in the concept of shame.
Shameless.
So it's not going to take any damage, I believe, right?
No damage.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
That was your
just-
action. That's the entire turn.
Yeah.
Okay, Zaari, you have jumped through the window, but none have charged at you for your ready to attack. So it is now your turn. As Yrsimagor is surrounded by these mold creatures. What do you want to do?
Let me just make sure. I mean, I could get right here. Yeah. Zaari is going to move to here.
Mhm.
And she will attack this little guy.
Okay.
So
that
let's see
attack
how
roll.
my digital dice fare for me. It's a 26. I am going to use a spell slot to add some divine smite to that because
Perfect.
my rolls are not always great.
Give that damage.
So that's 11 for the normal damage. I'm just going to use a first level spell slot. And that's another 9.
That is enough to dispatch this mold creature in one strike as you cut it in half, searing with this blazing light of radiance from your sword. So you've moved, you've attacked. I believe you have a second attack, actually, or second attack waiting for you because you're 5th
Right.
level, right?
Believe I do, yes.
Yeah.
So then she is going to, after that, she is going to attack this one.
Okay. Give me an attack action. Attack roll, please.
Coolsies. Don't fail me now. Oh, that's only a 9.
9 is not enough. Glancing off of its powerful vegetative armor, dealing it no harm whatsoever.
And that is it, since
Oh.
Yrsimagor hasn't taken that much damage, so I want to wait to do any kind of heal.
Leads us to Yrsimagor. Your turn, as you are surrounded by these mold creatures. Zaari comes down and slashes one of them down for you, but you still have a great force of them around you. What do you want to do?
In a move that may momentarily alarm Zaari, I am going to sheath my longsword. And then I am going to look at the largest of these creatures, but all of them surrounding me, and just let loose the most powerful roar that I can, summoning all of my rage, my features momentarily morphing into Ursine features, but my fists clearly morphing into bear-like claws as I am raging. I am then going to attack with my beast claws. Let's see. I'm gonna take that this guy here. And I'm going to make all 3 attacks because I get a bonus attack when I attack with my claws. So I'm going to make all 3 attacks recklessly against this guy. First attack is a... what's my bonus? 21 to hit.
Yep.
Second attack is a 24 to hit. Third attack, ooh, that was a natural 1, but I rolled an 8 on the other die, making the third attack only a 15.
All 3 hit.
Excellent.
Just rend into the plant and mold tissue of this creature.
So let me just double check because we leveled up what my rage bonuses are. I get a +2 to the rage. Make sure I'm not missing. But there was some other reason I had a. That might have been something else that was giving me a bonus. Okay. So that's going to be a total of 3d6 plus 18 for all 3 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be 8, 9, 10, 28 total points of slashing damage, as following that roar, I just start tearing into this thing with these beast claws, trying my best to rip it apart.
As you rip and tear this thing to shreds, you look on in horror as all this slashing you're doing isn't quite enough to bring this thing down. As you kind of look up from the savagery that you've inflicted, it still stands, barely hanging on, but nonetheless quite capable of inflicting upon you just as much harm. And that was your attack action. Any move or bonus action? No, bonus was rage. So your
bonus
move
was
left.
bonus was the rage. I'm holding my ground. I'm right where I want to be, surrounded by enemies.
Awesome. It is now the little moldy's turns. Veris, you're going to get attacked by the wooden club of this mold creature. It is going to be a 21 to hit, which deals you 5 points of bludgeoning damage with a solid whap of this tree branch against your shoulder and arm. This other moldy next to Yrsimagor is going to attack you, taking advantage of your reckless stance, getting a 16 to hit you with its claws.
16 misses.
Ooh, 16 glances off of your ursine hide, dealing you no damage. This powerful moldy that you've almost ripped to shreds, but it didn't quite. Oh, this guy regenerates too. I forgot about that. The one in front of you, Veris, regenerates. This one that you've ripped to shreds regenerates again some more as it tears into you with claws of its own, Yrsimagor. It's going to make 2 swiping claw attacks against you, both with advantage because of your recklessness. Yeah. It's going to be 19 to hit and a 15, so only 1 hit.
Yep, the 19 will hit.
That is going to be maximum damage. I kid you not, I rolled all 6s on this. It's going to be 20 points of slashing damage from this claw swipe at you. Halved to 10. Maximum damage. This other augmented moldy is going to strike at you back, Zaari, making 2 claw attacks of its own against you. They're not going to be at advantage. I get a critical hit.
Awesome.
I get a critical hit and a 15.
15 won't hit, but the critical hit obviously does.
So 20 plus... You take 28 points of slashing damage from this critical hit against you. As its claws rip into your armor and into your flesh, driving deep into a very sensitive and lethal part of you as you spit up blood from this attack. That was those two. Those ones continue to fight against your... Okay, brings to the top. Veris, it is your turn.
Alright. This is not going well. It is not like the fact that he keeps healing. Because he's gonna try to hit him. with his little with his sword.
All right, give me an attack roll then.
19 to hit
That hits.
for no damage.
It's always minimum 1 damage.
Okay.
I was gonna say, how did you roll a 0?
It's always minimum 1. So you deal
Okay.
1 point of damage. Describe to me, please, how your sword attack
Oh my
deals
goodness.
1 point of damage to this creature.
Everyone else is finding these like huge things. Veris is out here fighting the baby and not winning.
I can't help but notice that one of the things I said to you in town was, I don't want you going anywhere alone. And then Zaari and I immediately left you alone outside.
Well, I assumed you thought that because I had exploded the other two that I could handle a little baby sapling. The answer is no. As Veris just like he swings, but I think he misses how heavy like swords are, and so he off balances himself, and in his like whoa, as he like throws his weight too much into this, he barely hits this little sapling, just like this little moldy thing, just barely a scratch on it.
Zaari, Veris, anything else in your turn? As you try to copy your friend Yrsimagor and Zaari with their proficient uses of a sword, only to do it much worse.
It is in this moment that I am actually very happy that no one is out here to observe this. And then he looks to this little moldy thing. Well, except for you.
All right, perfect. Zaari, it's your turn.
Hooray!
As you reel back from a critical hit, what do you want to do?
Yeah, she's gonna kind of like shake the pain out for a minute, and she's gonna try and hit this guy again. We're gonna see. Don't fail me, digital dice. You failed me again for a 9. If I get another 9,
A 9 to hit?
I am moving to physical dice.
A 9,
not a
unfortunately,
9.
is not good enough.
It's an 11.
Oh, an 11 is also not good enough.
Yes. She's just, there's so much pain, and she's just swinging wildly at this moment.
So that was your 2 attacks then, getting a 9 and 11?
Yes, and let's see. Yeah, that's all I can do right now. So
Okay. Yrsimagor, it is your turn.
I need to finish this one in front of me. So I will continue roaring loudly and slashing ferociously and recklessly. The first attack against the augmented moldy is going to be a 22 to hit. That will be max damage, so that's going to be 12 points of slashing damage.
And that is enough to bring it down, ripping it to shreds and cleaving its body, finishing the work that you did moments ago.
I'm going to turn my attention to the little shit in front of me. Second claw attack. Oh man. That's second attack is only going to be a 10 to hit that one. I rolled a 3 on both dice. Probably misjudging its height coming from attacking this large thing. I'm going to readjust and make that extra attack at it recklessly. Another 3, but then a 14. So that's a 21 to hit the little guy.
That hits.
That's going to be 4 plus 4 plus 2. 10 slashing damage.
All right, you rip this one almost to shreds, but not quite enough to drop it.
And I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here.
Awesome. It is now the little moldy's turns. Veris, this thing heals and regenerates to undoing all of the damage that you've done to it between the shrapnel and the single sword strike, returning to full health. As it tries to bonk you yet again with its club. It's going to make an attack. It's a natural 20, a critical hit against you. Which is going to deal 10 points of bludgeoning damage from a critical hit. As it kind of, I imagine like it takes like the weak sword strike that you did and takes advantage of you being knocked off balance and swings on the club and just like bonks you upside the head.
I have a question.
Hitting over the back of the head. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry. When a creature, so I can have cutting words. I can expend when using my bardic inspiration to subtract the number, but it was a nat 20. So does that?
It'll still be a crit, unless you can bring it like below your AC to, which I don't think you can, because it's a 24 to hit. So like, if you roll a D8, it still would hit you. Yeah.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a crit, or would it still be a crit?
It would still be a crit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That was that hit. The little moldy that you tried to rip apart, Yrsimagor, also regenerates in front of you. And it's gonna try to slash at you with advantage from your reckless attacks. That's gonna be a 17 to hit with its claws. And if a 17 hits, it's gonna be 8 points of slashing damage. That it does to you.
8?
8 points, yeah, which gets halved down to 4 because of your rage. Yeah. Now it is the one large mold creature's turn, which again will do 2 claw attacks against. Oh, will it? No, seeing that you are feeble and weak with your sword swinging, Zaari, it is going to take this chance to unleash a torrent of mold spores against you. Make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, cool.
As it does the same thing that it tried to do to Yrsimagor.
I'm ready. I am ready to perish. What is happening? I might have to do my real dice because my sheet's not wanting to work. Let's see. It's a 15 plus 3, 18.
18, you were also able to resist the horrendous effects of this mold, but you will take nonetheless a whopping divided by 2, 9 points of poison damage from this.
Coolsies.
That was their turn. The two of you, Yrsimagor and Zaari, will hear a voice from behind this door. Ah, I hear you out there. Come help me, please. From the Father Yoram Kite behind this door. And that brings us to the top. Veris, it is your turn.
Veris is so mad. Really, Veris is such a support character. The only thing that he has is Shatter. So I think he is going to aim it so that he doesn't get caught in the Shatter.
Just okay.
Yeah.
You want to use a Shatter on this single little mold creature?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Has to make a con save.
Con save. This is a resilient bugger. He gets a 19 con save against this.
Wait. Yeah.
Getting a total of 19.
Well, he still takes half.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's 19. So that's 9 points.
9 points, yeah. Takes 9 points of the shrapnel thunder damage from your Shatter, but still stands nonetheless. As you can see, like its back that took the Shatter beginning to kind of like knit and reform from its regeneration. That will soon repair the damage that you did to it.
Question: can I do an offhand attack after I cast a spell, or is that not a thing?
You did not attack with a main attack, So you
Okay,
cannot do an
okay.
offhand attack.
Cool.
Mhm.
That's it then.
Okay. Zaari, it is your turn. As you wipe away the molds, thankfully no true adverse effects clinging to you. What do you want to do?
She's just, I mean, once again, trying to shake everything off, and she's gonna try and attack this thing. I don't know what's going on with my D&D Beyond, but well, what's that? That is a 9 plus 7, which is a 15. Did I
9
math
plus
right?
7 is a 16.
16,
Which,
I
also,
lied.
which hits.
Cool. So for 7 damage.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go again. I got a natural 20.
Oh yeah,
for
that's a critical
22.
hit.
Nice.
That's a critical hit.
How do we do critical hits again here?
Maximum damage of the dice plus a roll of the dice.
Okay.
So if a longsword is a d8, that's going to be an 8 plus your modifier plus a d8 roll.
Okay, so 15. And then another d8. I got an 8 on there. And then, you know what, for funsies, I'm gonna add a Divine Smite on there too.
Okay, so your Divine Smite also gets doubled in this way. So you automatically get the max damage of a Divine Smite roll plus a roll of a Divine Smite roll.
Okay, so I've got 15.
This is a
plus-
math equation.
It is, holy crap. So there's 23, and then that would be 16. And now 2 more. 4, 13, 2, 52 damage.
2! Describe this to me as a single critical hit. Slays this in one go. Go ahead and describe this for me.
Oh, she's pissed. She's not feeling great. She has had so many misses on this thing, and she starts like whispering to herself in Celestial, and as she does this, her long sword just kind of like begins to glow, and she kind of like Yrsimagor, she lets out almost like a war cry as she brings her sword down, and the sword just like cuts through this mold thing like butter.
The radiant smite burns away at the mold flesh of this creature as it like sizzles and go as it like hisses and screams as it disintegrates and burns before your very eyes. That was your action to strike it down. You have a move and a bonus left. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think she's gonna take a little breather.
Gotcha. All right. Yrsimagor, you see Zaari plant a felling blow at the other augmented moldy on the other side of you. There's only one of these little creatures left now. You also heard the voice of Yrsimagor asking for help from beyond this door to the southwest of you. What do you want to do?
Well, that definitely changes what I was thinking about doing. I think just with the sheer raw power that Zaari just exhibited, I just look at her for a moment, and all you see is through this like plant creature gore splattered face, you just see Yrsimagor's eyes just go blink, blink. Just too stunned for words. I'm going to tell you what I would like to do, and you tell me whether or not you will allow it. I would like to pick up this little moldy plant, make a run for where Yrsimagor is, and use the moldy as an improvised weapon against one of the other moldies.
I will say absolutely. You must beat the little moldy in a athletics check to grapple it, but you can grapple it as part of as one of your attacks, move and like throw him or smash it, like swing him with your second attack that you have as a barbarian.
All right, so
So athletics, a competitive athletics rolls.
I get advantage because I'm raging.
The little guy rolled a 2 on total, so I'm just gonna hand it to you.
I rolled a total of 19. So
Yeah.
I'm absolutely going to still kind of just blinking at Zaari for a moment, and then I just reach down, grab this creature, and I'm going to bonus action adrenaline rush. I think I need that to get all the way to him because it's 30 total. So just a little bit more. Actually, no. Because I have 40 feet of movement. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run down here with this guy. Whoops. Switch to move the guy. There we go. I'm going to run down here, throw open the door, and as soon as I see what's going on, I'm going to throw the creature at the top moldy.
Perfect. Yeah. So you'd see as you bash open the door, the priest Yrsimagor, he's holding aloft like half a dozen different holy symbols, all of the various wanderer gods of this church, and from it he's emanating like an aura, like a protective aura that's like keeping these moldies back. If you were a spellcaster, you'd recognize that he's casting the sanctuary spell to prevent their attacks, but you are not such a spellcaster, so you would not know this. But regardless, you're able to kick open the door, and I'll let you throw the moldy as a improvised weapon against the other one.
So I'm assuming I'm not proficient with moldies.
So you're not proficient at moldy throwing, and the damage die is going to be a d6.
It'll be a d6 plus
plus whatever all your rage
strength
bonus
modifier and rage bonus.
Yeah.
So,
and what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the damage evenly between these two targets.
Okay. So that'll just be rolling with my strength modifier of 4. That is a 17 to hit.
That hits.
And then it'll be a d6 plus 6 will be the total damage. So that's going to be a total of 8.
Okay, so they'll each take 4. As you throw one moldy against the next thing, they both topple back from this force. And I'm going to say they're both prone from this.
And then
that was your 2 attacks.
As I do that, I'm just going to yell at Yrm to take cover. Get out of the way.
All right. That was your turn, right? That was you moved, you pick up, and you threw?
Yep. Move action.
Okay. Perfect. Now it is the moldy's turns. Veris, the one in front of you, heals before your very eyes, and again takes a whack at you with this tree branch club, getting an 8 to hit you the first time it's missed. You're able to dodge it out of the way. You're starting to get a sense of this thing's rhythm when it attacks. The other moldies, seeing that there's now a new, fresh thing that they can attack that isn't Yrsimagor from a sanctuary spell, they're going to kind of run past him. These two will get up from prone and charge at you, Yrsimagor, as they kind of pile through this doorway. As they do so, they are beginning to regenerate the wounds that you inflicted upon them.
FYI, I did attack recklessly when I threw the...
Okay, perfect. So they get advantage on...
I mean, unless I say otherwise, Yrsimagor attacks recklessly pretty much every time.
Okay, that's good to know. They're prone. So that's going to be 3 attacks against you with their clubs and spears and branches and claws, each done with advantage. So that is going to be 17 to hit, and then a 10 to hit, and then a 18 to hit. Which sounds like 2 hits to me. 2 hits. So you're going to take 6 points of bludgeoning damage from one of their spears, from clubs, I should say, and then 7 piercing damage from a spear. So that, so it's
10
6 and
reduced
7.
to 5, or 13 reduced to 7?
6.
6.
Yes, 13 reduced to 6. You take 6 damage. As they kind of block the door now, they're like piling over each other and like leapfrogging over each other to get attacks in against you. And the one that missed, probably like mid-swing, its little moldy friend kind of like, leaped over and bonked it and kicked it in the head to get a jump on you, to stab you with a spear that's like in your shoulder. That's all the moldies, I believe. Which brings us to the top. Veris, your turn.
All right. The sword has to work, right? Right?
Try the sword.
I'm going to use one domain
Relic?
Yep, to roll with advantage. It is 1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 1 to use with advantage, yeah.
It's an 11.
11 does not hit.
I love that Zaari and I are in here taking out augmented moldies and half a dozen moldies, but Veris is having the real epic fight out in the courtyard.
He truly is.
This duel to sing for the ages.
I really want this moldy to be also like the littlest one, like the youngest baby moldy. Like this one was the smallest, and he's just having a time. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Can I do an offhand attack? No, not with a long gun. Never mind. Just kidding.
If you have to be dual wielding to do the dual wielding. Yeah. That brings us to Zaari then. Zaari, you see Yrsimagor kind of blocked in the doorway against a trio of moldies. What do you want to do? It's going to be difficult for you to get reach in there because Yrsimagor's in the way.
She's not gonna try to get in there. What she's gonna do is she's gonna run over, and even as Yrsimagor is just like losing his mind, she comes over and she presses a hand against his spine, and she is going to give him all 25 points from her lay on hands pool.
Yrsimagor, you are refreshed by the healing magic of the paladin Zaari.
We just become best friends?
I think we just became best friends.
And that's your turn then, yeah?
Yep, that's my turn.
All right. The priest, Father Yoram Kite, sees that you've got a handle on this and continues chanting his sanctuary spell. By the wandering guards, and backs up, cowering behind the desk that he got ambushed at. Yrsimagor, it is now your turn.
There's no reason to change my tune. Recklessly attacking, 3 attacks. Are they all at the same? I can't see. Are they all at the same health?
No, there's one that is very injured,
right.
And the other 2 are at full
Is that
health.
the one I threw?
That is the one you threw. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish that fool off, or attempt to. That is a 25 to hit. Which is gonna do. Whoops. That's gonna do 12 points of slashing damage. And then I'm immediately gonna turn my attention to the next one. That's gonna be a 19 to hit, followed by a 15 to hit.
2 hits.
So that's gonna be 10. Hold on, let me make sure I'm mathing right. Let's see, actions, attack. Beast Claws, 1d6 plus 4, plus 2 for raging, so that is plus 6. So that's 10 on the dice, plus 12, so 22 slashing on this next one.
So you have ripped apart 2 of them before your very eyes, as one of them stands to remain.
As I rip apart the second one, I'm just going to bend down looking at this last remaining one and just another bestial roar in its face.
That brings us to the Moldy's turn. And by the Moldy's, I mean there's two of them. We'll go with the one in front of you, Yrsimagor, first. As you cut down the two of its brethren, its spawnlings, it looks and realizes that it's going to die if it stays here a moment longer. And it goes, and it's going to move dash away, which gives you an opportunity attack against it.
Can I opportunity attack recklessly?
I believe so. I believe it. The recklessness resets at the start of your next turn. I believe.
The reckless attack, the way it's worded, is
during this turn. Oh, okay, no. So you cannot recklessly attack.
Okay.
On an opportunity attack.
I will just roll a single die. That is a natural 20.
As it moves to turn away, roll that critical hit damage for me,
That
please.
critical hit damage is going to be an automatic 12 plus 5, so 17 points of damage.
What is it like as you slaughter this moldy as it turns to run away? What is it like as you stop it from fleeing?
I reach out, seeing that it's trying to flee, jamming with my left hand the bear claws, just sort of reaching out, grabbing it as firmly as I can with the claws, lifting it up, even as its little legs are still trying to move. And with the other claw, I'm just going to grab hold of its head, tighten both sets of claws, and rip it apart.
It screams as it perishes. However, on the other side of the map, Veris, you're having the battle of your life. The wounds you've inflicted continue to regenerate, and this moldy continues its duel against you. I imagine like the two of you kind of like pacing around in a circle, trying to get like strikes on each other as you can. This one lunges out, getting a 15 to hit against you, timing its attack well. Does a 15 hit you?
Yep.
Okay, it bonks you for 3 points of bludgeoning damage. Is it able to get a grazing blow against you, catching you unguarded for that moment. We go to the top then now. Veris, it is your turn. What do you want to do?
He wants to cast Shatter a third time.
All right, so it's going to be a con save from this little guy.
Oh my god.
This catches him off guard as he gets a total of 4 on his con save, which is going to be a fail.
Okay, he's gonna take 17 points of damage.
Go ahead and describe to me how, as the two of you are focused on a duel, this thing explodes from thunder damage.
Oh my goodness. So, Veris is... I don't think he realizes just how comical this combat is to him. Like, this is, the combat of the century. Like, he is eye to eye with this little thing, and I imagine in this very impressive act of he runs at this little moldy, and he's going to jump up, and from his coat that he's wearing, he throws out these little glass beads, and as they land on the ground again, they explode in this like arcane thunderous explosion that radiates out and just absolutely tears. It's like a shotgun blast. It tears multiple holes into this little moldy as it rips him to shreds. And then Veris at that point lands on the ground, panting, scratched, aggressively scratched, I would say, having overcome this foe.
As you are banged up and bruised, and Yrsimagor and Zaari have finished slaughtering the half dozen other moldies, The father, Yorm Kite, looks up from the desk, seeing that all of them is dead. Oh, thank you for saving me. And with that, we're going to be going ahead and going on our break.
Excellent. We will take a short break and see you in about 10 minutes on the other side. And we're back.
As the dust and mildew of these creatures comes to a still, Father Jerome Kite reaches up over his desk. Thank you for rescuing me. Those things, they burst from the ground and attacked out of nowhere. Oh, he kind of limps over to where they had broken through the window, and it's like trying to sweep up the glass from this. Oh, you came at the nick of time. I fear those things would have been the end of me. My apprentice, is he okay? He asks the two of you. My disciple.
I think as soon as he says that, I go, Veris. And I'm going to take off running and going back outside to look for Veris.
And how does Yrsimagor see Veris outdoors? What kind of state is he in?
Oh, Veris he's bloodied, actually. So you see Veris, he looks he looks a little worse for wear. And you see him like panting over this this moldy, and he looks to you and, oh, Yrsimagor, I'm so glad you're here. How many more are there left to fight?
It looks like you took care of the last one.
Ah.
There were just a couple inside Zaari and I took care of.
Oh, good. Yeah, those were they were quite tough, quite a challenge, I must say. He says as he's like dusting himself off.
You look terrible.
He looks also at Yrsimagor. He's like, you as well. They were very tough, he says, as he like taps Yrsimagor on the shoulder and is going to cast Cure Wounds on Yrsimagor. For 20 points of healing.
All right. I am maxed out. And as you're doing that, I look at you and I go, yeah, they were pretty tough. The first 4 or 5 took a little bit to get used to. After that, we kind of figured them out and took care of the rest of them.
You see, like, Veris's ears just kind of, like, lay back against his head. His tail droops a little bit as he's like, yeah. Oh, of course, yes. You know, the first 4 or 5, were challenging, but then you get used to them, right? You learn their tricks. You learn, what their maneuvers. And he's, like, taking his sword out and miming like the jabs and the thrusts and yeah.
How are you not wet?
Of course.
I thought it was storming out here. I kept hearing thunder while we were fighting.
Right, that was me. With magic and all of that, I can cast things that let out a thunderous roar, and that's how I dispatched of my enemy.
You look awfully close to this one, though. You know, I took this after we came back to the surface, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. Maybe you might find use for it. Keep your enemies at a distance. And I'm going to reach into my belt and pull out the infernal pistol. And I'm going to hand it to you.
Well, I mean, you did always come across as more of a fight them up close and personal, see the life drain from their eyes kind of person. So it really is better fitting for me. He says as he's like grabbing it and like holding it close. You see, he does not want to do this again with the sword fighting. What is it? By
So
like stat wise?
It is a pistol, which deals 1d10 fire damage when it hits, but it has a +1 enhancement bonus, which means it has a +1 to hit and +1 damage. It'll also be like modified by your dex modifier. When you score a critical hit with it, the target catches on fire, which will deal 1d4 fire damage at the start of each of their turns until they put it out using an action. It'll use up 1 energy cell charge per attack you use with it, though.
How much sorry, how much fire damage did you say?
1d10 +1 plus whatever your dex is.
Okay, cool. So there's a stat here for a +1 pistol.
Yeah, add a
yeah, I think that's
+1
what I
pistol
did,
in
and then
it.
I renamed it, customized the name.
Yeah.
And then
Cool. Okay.
the information I just put in the chat is what I put in the notes section of it.
Yep,
Awesome.
that's exactly what it does.
Yep. And I think
Thank you.
I think I had to customize the damage as well. But anyway, you know what you're doing.
Yep.
I thought
the Inferno pistol shoots like a slow-moving blob of red-hot plasma that melts anything that it hits.
Cool. Thank you.
I thought they had a way you could give stuff to their party members.
It'd be cool if you could just like right-click send to Veris, but I don't know if you can in D&D Beyond.
No, I can move it between my equipment and my backpack, but I can't send it to another character. Anyway, I'm going to remove it from mine.
Mm-hmm. Because this is a firearm, you'll not innately have proficiency in it. So you'll not be able to add your proficiency modifier to attack rolls with it, which I think will automatically be calculated in its thing.
Okay.
Because it should just be whatever your dex is +1 to hit as its attack modifier.
Okay.
Until you gain firearm proficiency in some way or another.
Okay.
That Yrm dude isn't inside.
Oh well, yes, of course. Let us go in. Enough dilly-dallying around here. Thanks again for the pistol.
Yeah, I should have given it to you earlier, but I'm glad you're not dead.
I am also glad of that as well. Thank you, Yrsimagor.
And I think at this point, out of habit, I'm just going to walk over to that window and start to climb through the window. Maybe boosting Veris up through the window. Despite the fact that I think the door is
the perfectly good door right there. Yeah. In the meantime, as Veris and Yrsimagor return, Yrm will finish sweeping the broken glass in a pile and asking you, Zaari, my disciple, my apprentice, is he still alive? Is he all right? As he moves towards you.
And you can see Zaari is, sheathing her sword, and she's kind of rubbing on her arm and just other places that hurt, and she kind of looks over her shoulder at the dead body in the room. I do not believe he survived.
Oh, gods. He seems quite saddened by this. My dear young boy, taken so soon. He kind of strides past you And as he does so, he chants a prayer and touches you and casts Cure Wounds on you, seeing that you are afflicted with injury. He's going to heal you 7 points of healing. My boy, no, he says as he sees the mutilated, emoldened corpse that is his former disciple. And he also kind of looks around and sees Yrsimagor and Veris climbing through the shattered window. He just sees this chapel room here, this in just complete destruction. The bookshelves kind of knocked aside, the windows shattered, the corpse of his apprentice, and all these mold creatures. Oh, by the wandering gods. I have so much work to do to clean this up. Thank you for saving me. You too, he says as he walks up to Yrsimagor. Seeing that you seem to have your own wounds magically healed, but Veris is pretty injured, he's going to heal Veris as well with another casting of Cure Wounds, healing you for 10 hit points, Veris. You came here in the nick of time, he says. Well, he kind of glances over to the deceased body of his apprentice. Perhaps not the nick of time. Do you know what might have caused this? He asks. They attacked out of nowhere.
We saw these things below ground.
When you rekindled torch, yeah? But what are they
Yes.
doing up here?
Maybe they followed us. I'm going to start gathering up all of the moldy corpses, and just picking them up and carrying them outside, to toss them in a pile and burn them.
Yeah, that'll be a time effort thing to do, but you're able to carry them out, like 2 at a time or 1 at a time if they're big, making a great big corpse heap in the back. In the meantime, Veris and Zaari, what are you up to?
I think Zaari would come over to the corpse of the apprentice, and I think she would look at Yrsimagor and say, I believe this one needs to be burned as well if you would like to perform rites beforehand.
And he's already like just about to begin like he's like gathering different like holy ingredients from around this like back room in the chapel. Yes, of course, sanctified by the wandering gods, and he'll go down on his knees and offer a prayer, so that his apprentice may pass to the afterlife in peace, rather than as a restless undead, a ghost even. Just sanctifies his body for a peaceful rest.
Yeah, and then when he's done, Zaari will carry the corpse out and place it onto the mold pile is
What about
I'll call it.
What about this corpse here? Is this anybody?
Yeah, that's another deceased person that was getting dragged into the tree line, getting dragged in this direction by the moldies before you attacked them. So it's not a mold, at least not visibly, unlike how the apprentice in the chapel is.
I will wait until others come out and suggest that we should also burn this body. But also, we should maybe see where they were trying to take it. Maybe there's more of them.
Zaari nods her head in agreement. She definitely wants to see where they were taking it.
So you follow along into the trees. And I'm not going to make you roll anything because the sight is plain and obvious. Zaari and Yrsimagor, you recognize the scene. This is where, in the distance, over kind of behind the tree line, is where you had buried the body of Danik. And in this shallow grave you had made for him, unmarked, you see the ground has like burst open, and there's these tendrils of hyphae and mold that is like strewn open, as if like a great cocoon thing has kind of burst open from the ground, kind of like almost like forming a crater, like a crater that's bloomed open under the ground and exposed to the air. This thing is like maybe like 10 or 15 feet wide, right over the spot where you had buried Danik. You can see like branches and vines and tendrils that remind you both of the composition of these mold folk and of the tree that was dominating in the center of that one room in that chamber in the complex below the earth, the one that had those delicious fruits that budded from it. The one that the moldies down there were trying to get you to eat. The fruit that had been stuffed into Danik's dying body as they killed him.
We should burn this whole pit as well, just to be safe. New rule as I look at Zaari. If any of us dies around these things, burn the body.
Zaari just nods.
And then to Veris. You got that? If one of us dies, you're gonna have to burn us.
Right, yes, burning, of course, that only makes sense. He says as he looks very uncomfortable.
Don't worry, if you die, I'll burn you too.
Oh, good, thank you. Great. Something to look forward to, I suppose. I guess not, because I will be dead.
You'll be dead, you won't know.
Right, thank you, Yrsimagor, yes. Let's just get on with this business, then.
That was quite a fight you put up over there. Are you sure you're ready to continue without a rest? Have we even rested since we came
I believe
up?
you're just fresh off of a long rest, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
Because you had the long rest right before the interrogation of Mayenda down below.
That's right.
And haven't had any altercations since then. So I imagine the three of you setting fires now, two great bonfires, burning the mold heap of these creatures along with the cocoon bud thing that bloomed from Danik's corpse. Two great fires that burn as you see the flames flicker, reducing them to ashes and destroying any semblance of what they once were. As this happens, Father Yoram Kite will come up to the three of you as you're sitting and watching the fires. So you've relit the torch and rescued Codir Bane. What is next for you? Are you staying in town to be Torch's guardians, or where do your adventures take you next? He seems, those of you with sharper insight would notice that he's a bit wary of having people like you leave town, since he thinks that it'd be good to have you around to defend Torch from whatever nasty businesses may arrive in the future.
Our journey take us to Scrapwall, as a matter of fact.
Oh, Scrapwall. Oh,
Mm.
my sister is in Scrapwall.
I do.
Oh,
Her name is Bree, a Bree kite. And Veris, you would recognize that name. You would not recognize that name with much fondness, however. I would like, so Bree, you know that Bree Kite is a bit of an artificer, one who is trying to combine the technological remains of Scrapwall with their own arcane magic to try to like get some kind of like arcane contraptions built. She's a bit of an artificer this way, but she has an intense rivalry with you. You two do not get along much in your lines of work or in encounters that you had in the past. M, what is it that that really sparked or ignited this rivalry or what do you call it? Not disdain, but like animosity towards each other?
I can imagine that. I want to say that it's something like Veris and her had a theory about how something worked, and I imagine that I imagine a scenario where, first off, I imagine it's a scenario where they were both right, but she got the accolades
Ooh, okay.
as opposed to him, because his explanation was like a little too long-winded, not as simple, still maybe technically correct, but hers was the one that was maybe a little bit more flashy, simple to understand, and was therefore kind of not simple, but like, straightforward. And so that was what was, got the accolades and the recognition in their particular community that they're both in.
So we'll say that Bree Kite. The two of you had been reverse engineering the technology left behind by the Technic League after the revolt of Scrapwall, kicking out the Technic League. And there was some contraption that they left behind, and the two of you were kind of puzzled at it, trying to figure out how it worked. The two of you figured it out, and she was the one who was given the credit for aiding the community of Scrapwall with this reverse engineering of this contraption, leaving you a bit in the dust of this.
Yep.
So the name Bree Kite sits a bit sourly in your ears as the father Yoram Kite speaks of his sister in Scrapwall.
Oh, that's your sister. Well, I must say she is quite the inventor. She
is, yes.
She has some very, very curious and interesting thoughts.
I've always thought the same. She's always has such a bright future. I know that and he whispers, I know the Technic League really do not like her.
I mean, that kind of perks up Veris a little bit. Why don't they like her?
They tried to recruit her. She declined.
Of course she did. She would not want to put her name on any kind of organization. She is one who really likes to believe that her own ideas are truly her own, he says as he smiles.
Oh, she has such wondrous ideas. I can't even follow them sometimes. She's always been like that, quite a bright mind.
Yeah, she certainly has a way with ideas and words and conveying them.
Did you know that she was animating her cutlery and forks and knives ever since she was a young
Oh, I think Vi cut out for me.
Yeah. I was making sure that was everybody, not just.
Hello?
Oh, my, yeah, okay, I'm back.
Yeah, you froze after
I think I
saying
froze.
she was something of a.
Yeah.
Something of a prodigy, we'll say. As
Right.
she animated her cutlery ever since she was a small little girl. They would dance, waiting for dinner.
Of course they did. Wow, what a very, very strange and mundane thing to do. He says as he, like... Anyway, moving on, we will certainly, if I do see her, which I have hopes of that outcome, of whether I do see her or not, I will certainly say something to her about you.
If you don't mind me prying, what is it that brings you to Scrapple? That takes you there? It's a far journey from here. A bit treacherous these days. What takes you
Oh,
there?
what? And Veris is going to go into, if people let him, is going to go into, the machine that they found at the warehouse and him turning it on and where it, like, pointed to and all of that.
In the warehouse of Mr. Ulrich himself? That seems diabolical. Something is amiss, something is wrong.
We have also heard that people have been very surprised by this outcome, that he would have, be in league with the Technic League. I mean, of course, we don't know him, so we don't have that strange preconception about him. Why is that so alarming?
Him in league with the Technic League? I couldn't imagine such a thing.
Why?
He leans in closer, whispering to you. He deserted them, left them. He's a traitor to them. Stole something from them. Now they're after him. I was a bit concerned when that one Technic League agent was in town. Thank goodness he's left.
Who was the one agent?
I forget his name. San something. Sangor, Sanville. And he's speaking of Sanville Tret. I don't think that Veris actually met the man.
No, so Veris has no idea.
San Diego? Yeah.
Veris, I think, looks to the others to see if they recognize that name.
I think Yrsimagor kind of just shrugs. There's a lot of names thrown around. I can't remember everybody's name.
I think you see Zaari is just kind of like how Veris has this feud with Bree. And he's more of like irritated, and this person, should have given me credit kind of thing. Zaari is just the mention of the Technic League has brought this rage out in her, and you can see it in her eyes, and you can hear like her leather gloves are cracking because she's kind of balling her fists up. And I have already forgotten the name that you said because I can't think right
Was
now.
it Sandval?
Sand, yeah,
Sandval
Sandveltret.
Let's see.
And
Daeralei would know who that is.
yes, but she would say the name
Yeah,
Sandveltret,
I believe that's the man. Yes.
and it comes out in a growl.
I take it you don't take kindly to them too. That's a good side to be on. They've been nothing but nasty business here in Numeria. I'm glad that Scrapwell was able to shake off their yoke, and I'm glad that Torch hasn't really been under their thumb much either. Sandvilchet was the guy that you met in the tavern who offered you the trade, like a business deal of eliminating all of the council members of Torch in exchange for a key card that let you access deeper parts of the subterranean complex.
Didn't
He
he
seemed to
have
know a lot about the subterranean complex.
Didn't he have like a robot in his employ?
He had 2 robots
Yeah.
in his
I knew there was a reason I didn't like that guy.
And
And
it was
the
the
tiefling.
tiefling bodyguard that
yeah,
gave you
and
the
the
warning at the beginning of today's session.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
okay. That's
And then Garmin Ulreth is the guy who'd been who commands the rope fists, who had in his warehouse the transmitter that was transmitting the energy from Mayenda's contraption below at that reactor and transmitting it northeast to Scrapwall. And he was hiding that transmitter in his warehouse. And then you had found the note on one of the rope fists down below of aiding Mayenda in whatever she needs as an order from him.
Perhaps there are maybe more factions than we thought. Maybe it is not just the Technic League, but also maybe he's working on his own with the rope fists. Ulrith. Either way, we are going to Scrapwell.
maybe we should be our own faction.
I think we are. We should have a name for ourselves. We have the Rope Fists, the Technic League. We could be the
Lords of Rust.
Yeah, we should have our own name. We are a force to be reckoned with, surely.
The name I was about to say, I feel like it's actually the name of something. I was gonna suggest we should call ourselves the Torchlighters, but that feels like it belongs, like it's a thing, a property. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining it.
I'll do a quick Google search.
I see a bunch of ads for lighters.
I see a bunch of children's stories happening.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I think it's like a Christian cartoon.
It's a Catholic TV kids series.
The Torchlighters, Heroes of the Faith.
Can we be the Torchlighters? Skymetal Iron Gods.
So, not that it matters. I mean, people use names all the time. It just crossed my mind. That was the first thing. That feels like a very obvious thing that Yrsimagor would suggest. I mean, we did light the torch after all.
I like that name. It has a certain ring to it. I think it is on par with the other names as well. They have a certain dramatic flair to them, and I think that this fits very, very well. Our name shall precede us, he says as he, gestures dramatically.
I like
This is very exciting, he says.
I am sure then that the festivities happening tonight, everyone would be very happy to see the Torchlighters attend. Father Yoram says to the three of you.
You see,
Yes.
like, Veris just kind of put his hands on his hips, and his tail is all perked up, and ears as well.
You didn't hear of the festivities happening? He asks you, seeing that like it seems like this is news to you.
Festivities.
Everyone's celebrating the return of the fires of Torch this evening.
Well, surely as the torch lighters, we could always go to Scrapwell tomorrow.
Festivities means there will probably be lots to drink. And lots
Generally,
of meat.
yes.
I agree. Scrap all tomorrow. Besides, you could do with a little rest before we hit the road again.
I am rather tired after all of those enemies that we fought. Sorry, he says all of those enemy that we fought.
Hey, you took out, like, what, 3 of them, though?
You did. Varys
Yeah.
took out 3 all by himself.
Wow.
Zaari's like, you did good,
Using
little
3
guy.
spell slots.
You did so good.
What a big rat you are.
Pat, pat, pat.
Yeah.
I like to imagine in the artwork that is the Torchlighters, most prominent, perched on Zaari, probably 1 foot on Zaari's shoulder, 1 foot on Yrsimagor's shoulder, is Veris holding aloft a torch.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Luke Skywalker with the lightsaber on the Star Wars
Mhm.
poster.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like Tamiko said, we got to stick around. We need a festival episode.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah. Zaari is very hesitant about a festival episode, but yes. Zaari is going to be the negative Nancy for the festival.
As long as there's food and drink, Yrsimagor's in.
Yeah.
So then, with the 3 of you having your finished business here, the afternoon turning to evening, the sky darkening, we're going to skip ahead to the evening as the sun sets upon Torch, where the light of the sky is vastly shadowed by the great light of the bonfire of the purple flame that roars confidently from the black hilltop. You can see there's a huge crowd already beginning to form. Wagons upon wagons of water, wine, spirits, food, feasts have been carted in. You see familiar faces, stranger faces, faces of many of the different peoples of Torch. All of them are very much in recognition of you. It's the adventurers who saved us. They're the Torchlighters, don't you know? You can hear as you stride in to a great feast and merriment and festival happening atop the great hill of Torch. You can see upon a podium 3 of the 4 council members, that is Yoram Kite, Dolga, and Bazlundi Otterby, standing on a podium, commanding out some words of and a speech. The 3 of them give this long speech about how the heroes of Torch, who Yoram quickly corrects them to say the Torchlighters, saved us from certain doom by relighting Torch and saving the prosperity of the town. And cheers go out for all of you. You'll see, however, there is a certain man with a certain cybernetic bionic eye, that is Garmin Ulreth, watches from the distance. you can tell that he has spied you three, but makes no gestures or actions towards you other than a polite smile, a devious smile upon the three of you. But as it now turns to dusk, and the light of the great flame of torch is what illuminates everything here in a purple hue, how do you partake in the festivities? We'll start with you, Yrsimagor. What is it like for Yrsimagor to be festive?
I think it starts off with looking for the largest mug of ale and then making sure that that mug stays as full as possible. While in the other hand, having some form of food, usually like a giant turkey leg or I mean, Yrsimagor just looks like he's at Ren Festival. He's at the Ren Fair. He's got a giant turkey leg, a big mug of ale. I think the more in his cups he gets, that he'll probably at a certain point start to partake a little more in the festivities, maybe a little flushed in the face. The red flush of drunkenness standing in stark contrast against his ruddy green skin. But at a certain point, Yrsimagor could be seen dancing. Probably at some point finding, if he's able to find a woman who is interested and wants to spend time with him, he will focus on her and dance with her. And perhaps as the festivities wind down, they will walk off somewhere together.
The introduction to this woman is, you can see there's a group of them, of maidens, younger but still adults, and they're like hushing whispers to each other. One of them seems very much bashful, while the other three, excuse me, are being a bit like coy or teasing to the fourth one. Finally, the fourth one, she comes up to you. Is it true that you ripped apart robots with your bare hands?
It is true.
And she's eyeing the muscles of your chest and the muscles of your arms as you flex poses and you know.
Yeah, there's probably that sort of drunken finding something heavy to lift.
Mm-hmm. We move then to Zaari as the festivities continue on through the night. What is it like for Zaari to be festive? What is she up to during this festivities dedicated to the Torchlighters?
I think it takes a little while for Zaari to get comfortable, because back with her tribe and stuff, they had their festivities, but it was very much, if there was attention put on her, it wasn't for very long. So just having a festival like dedicated to the work that they've done is a lot for her, for one. For two, catching Orem just kind of staring at us and giving us a weird smile kind of puts her off a bit. So it takes her a while to kind of relax and let loose. But I think eventually she, gets some drinks, gets some food. And I think she more or less, like, she'll engage in conversation, but being flirtatious with whoever is flirtatious with her. But otherwise, I think she's just gonna kind of relax and drink and eat her food. If a pretty boy or a pretty lady wants to sit in her lap, sure.
I find that Zaari will have many interested suitors this evening. 3 in total. You can part with as many or as few of those 3 as you'd like for the evening. And we move to Veris. What is Veris like for during these festivities?
So I think in very stark contrast to Zaari, it does not take him a very long time before he is standing up on the table, recounting all of the adventures that they've been on, maybe using a little hyperbole. You see the sword come out every so often as he mimics a maneuver that Yrsimagor did, or also uh, reenacting the time when he who either Daeralei or Zaari when he hopped to grab the healing potion. So just like all of these, he's just recounting all of the heroic moments that they went through in the caverns, embellishing quite a bit, I would say. Um, and as the night goes on, maybe the stories get a little bit more and more embellished, and I imagine there's quite the crowd that is gathered around this rat on
Yeah.
standing on top of the table.
Is it true that the fires of Torch are from the bellies of a great dragon slumbering beneath our town?
My dear listener, it is not 1 but 2 dragons, he says. I imagine this is way late into the night,
Yeah.
where
There,
I mean, I think at first he was trying to be, a good scientist and be as accurate as possible, but no, this is way, way into the night where he starts talking about how, one of them was gold, the other was silver, and like.
one of your listeners who's a bit more, let's say, strung out, let's say, getting a little bit high, kind of like very pensively, like, well, if they're dragons sleeping, maybe we're going to be too loud and we'll wake them up. Listening to the music and singing and dancing that's happening, literally right above these slumbering dragons beneath them. All 3 of you would notice after a certain time into the night, some men are carting these barrels of this rancid looking fluid up to the bonfire itself, and kind of 1, 2, 3 lift and kind of pouring them, upending them into the fire of Torch. And when they do so, the fire turns into like a pyroclastic display, burning greens and yellows and reds in this huge display of color as they're pouring some of these Numerian fluids that are the kind of like the offshoots, the residues, and of the various debris of Skymetal through the land, and causing this beautiful display of colors erupting into the sky, almost to the effect of fireworks sometimes, as they like bubbles will form and they'll float up in the air and they go up in the sky, announcing the great deeds of everyone. And with everyone retiring for the night, deep into the night, that is where we're going to be ending our session. For tomorrow, everyone wakes up with a little bit of a hangover. So that will be the end of Skymetal, part 1 of chapter 2, The Lords of Rust, where next session we begin the journey to Scrapwall.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Vi. That was a great kickoff to chapter 2. A reminder to everybody that this is a bi-weekly campaign, meaning we will be back in 2 weeks for our next session. But you don't have to wait that long. Get your fix for more RPG goodness, because you can join us on Thursday for Welcome to Paradise Academy, our Kids on Bikes game, where we are currently hosting a guest player known in the chat as Doghammer, but who is also a friend of mine that I actually went to high school with. and huge fan of the show and has been dying to get in there, and he's created a very interesting character. I think one of his first lines had to Tamiko's character had everybody going, "Wait, what?" So tune in to see that. Craig will be joining us for a few episodes, and of course we have all the other amazing players. M is a part of that group as well, and some very interesting characters. And we're sort of in a new little arc, and new things are happening. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We appreciate those of you who supported with subs and bits and all that stuff to get us a few more. And I think we even used a couple tonight. And thank you for everybody hanging out in the chat. Love seeing people engaging in the chat as well. And if you're somebody that likes to lurk quietly in the background, or maybe you're watching with us on a VOD later, know that we appreciate you, and we hope you enjoy the shows as well. Of course, a huge thank you to our game master Vi. But thank you to everybody around this table, Vi and Sara and M, myself, and though she wasn't here in person, she was here in spirit, Kaeryn, without whom this would have been Vi talking to herself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want.
Much ado.